been there the whole time. Just keep looking up and open up your eyes. Don't get lost in a crowd. You were made to stand out. The Wonder Creative Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I am so excited to chat today. I don't have like a super planned out show or episode, I guess, today because I'm just kind of feeling, I'm feeling crazy. I just thought we could chat a little bit, and I feel like there's so many things going on in my life right now, and I'm not sure what I'm going to title this, and I am not even sure if people are going to listen to this, but I really just want to talk about things that I feel like I'm learning right now. And I don't know, we'll dive into it in a second. But first things first, I got a new office chair. And this is a really big deal because I've never actually invested in a good office chair for myself. And I'm sitting in it right now. And it looks like any normal office chair, but it is very special. So my husband has been all about me getting a good office chair, and he's been searching for me a Herman Miller office chair. And apparently they're amazing chairs. Well, it's not apparently. They are. I'm sitting in one. They're extremely amazing chairs. They're ergonomic. They make them to like fit your height and your size and whatever. So it's all very custom and really good for your body. So anyways, he's been really wanting me to get one of these chairs, but I'm like, babe, I don't got $4,000 to spend on an office chair. Like that's a lot. But if you think about it, it's a really good investment because if you work a desk job, you sit in this chair for 8 hours a day. So like, it makes sense. So anyway, one of his friends was selling this Herman Miller chair for very, very cheap compared to the normal price of these chairs. And so Aaron was like, yes, we want it immediately, yes. And so anyway, I sat in it yesterday for the first time and worked, and I actually started crying. Because I didn't realize how much pain I was putting my body through every day. I mean, I knew that like I was uncomfortable whenever I would get off work if I like had a really strenuous day. And by strenuous, I get it. Like I sit at a desk, but like, whenever you're like really working on something and like your body just kind of like hunches up and you don't realize that you have like the worst posture and you're killing your shoulders and your back and whatever. Just me. Okay. So anyway, I didn't realize just how much pain I was putting my body through every day. And so whenever I sat in it, like I was sitting there and like my shoulders could rest and I could like sit up straight and work, and like my arms could like rest while I was working. And like that was crazy. Like I don't know how to describe it, but the arm rests, they can obviously move up and down, but they can move in or out. So like they can move closer to your body or away from your body. And so I put them closer because it allows me to like type and like move my mouse and stuff without actually raising and moving my shoulders, if that makes sense. And that's where I get all that tension in my shoulders. And so anyway, I started crying because I could not believe how much this chair made a difference. And I just been telling Aaron, I was like, a chair's not going to help. Like, I think my body's just broken, So anyway, I'm very happy about my chair. And so this is your sign to just go get a good chair for your body if you sit at a desk. Obviously, if I got this chair super discounted from the normal price. So I'm not expecting you to go spend $4,000 on a chair today, but I mean, like seriously think about what you can do to make your body feel good while you're working. Because I think subconsciously I was like loathing working because it just hurt. Like, I mean, I love my work, but then I also would be like, oh, I don't want to sit down at my desk today. Like I can't do it, And it's like, well, duh, because my body was hurting so bad. But anyways, yeah, so I'm so happy about my chair. I'm so happy about my chair. And then also, Aaron got me a disco ball for my birthday, and I finally hung it up today. And I used a drill, and this is my third time using the power drill. And I'm sorry to sound like whatever about this. But I just haven't really worked with tools very much. And so I was so proud of myself that I did that all by myself. So whenever the sun hits it really strong, like in the morning, it's like light is everywhere in my office, and it is the best. I am snacking on some Lily's chocolate chips right now, and I've got my coffee, and let's just chat. I just want to say, like, thank you again. Oh no, I dropped a chocolate chip. Thank you to everyone that wished Wonder Creative a happy 4th birthday. That meant so much to me. And oh shoot, why did I eat a chocolate chip? Because now I don't want people to hear me chewing. Okay, hold on. Let me just take like a quick little. I love chocolate. I love chocolate. Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh, thank you so much for celebrating Wonder Creative with me last week. It was a big deal to me. I don't know why the 4th birthday was such a big one. I don't know. It just felt like I had worked really, I have. It's not like I felt like I have worked very hard, but it just was so, I don't know. I just felt so reflective of the journey that I've been on the past 4 years and how my life has changed, and how I kind of don't remember a life before owning a business. I do, but like this just feels like so a part of me. And it's provided so much for my family, just a new way of life, and of course income, and it's allowed me to be home with Asher, and it's allowed me to create, a life that is conducive to my values. And anyway, I'm just beyond grateful and thankful for Wonder Creative. I really took quite a big risk. There was really no backup plan. We just jumped. And since then, it's just been figuring things out day by day, sometimes very much like day by day, minute by minute even. And so to anyone out there who is very much in the thick of business, just know that sometimes you just have to go on the journey to really learn what you need to learn. And you're not going to get that from buying a course or investing in, a business coach to help you. And yes, that is going to help. And I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in those things. You should, but also understand that sometimes or I guess what I'm trying to say is those things are not going to just fix the learning curve. Sometimes that it is in owning a business. It can help, but it's not going to just take that away. You are still going to have to learn. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to go through mindset hurdles, and that's just kind of a part of it. And, but be encouraged, because I think if you can approach it in the right way, and well, not the right way, but in a healthy perspective, then, I can say that in the last 4 years, I've become a better person. I think it has uncovered some things in my heart that I didn't realize that I needed to deal with. And so now that I've dealt with them, I'm a better person. And so I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, owning a business can really attack your identity. It can make you feel like it is like the success of your business is the success of your person, or the failure of your business is the failure of your person. And that's just not true. Obviously, like, your business is a big part of who you are, but it is not who you are. I've said this before, like, you have value. It can't be measured. Our value as human beings cannot be measured. And so we can't really put that in the box of our businesses and say, this is our value. But it does feel that way sometimes. And it does feel like, we become like, what we are only as good as what we produce, or if we had a good day that day, if we got all of our work done that day, whatever. And it just, I feel like if you don't really tend to the garden of your heart whenever you own a business, or you're a creative entrepreneur or solopreneur, whatever it is, I think it can get kind of messy sometimes, and that's okay. That's okay. Like, there's obviously, like I just said, like, there's sometimes you just have to go through it, and you just have to learn and be willing to be teachable and to learn, and be willing to stay curious and all that good stuff, because even people so far into their businesses, they still are learning and evolving and growing too, like, it's not just, the first year, is learning and growing, and then after that I'll be good, or, whatever. Like, that's not true. But anyways, I mean, 4 years of business is not a long time in the grand scheme of things. But for some reason, I just felt so deeply that I needed to really honor this business birthday, and really like celebrate it and be proud. And so, I made this little reel of like the last 4 years of my life, and I got so emotional. I just couldn't believe like how our life had changed. It was just like a tiny snapshot, right? Like, just a tiny like little highlight reel of the last 4 years. But, it meant so much to me. And it also kind of highlighted the fact that I've raised a business and a baby kind of at the same rate. So my son is 4 and my business is 4. And it's been very interesting balancing that. But yeah, like today I just want to talk about kind of some things that I'm learning right now. As I said before, just being like super reflective and just honoring the journey that I've been on as I've pursued creative living and entrepreneurship and all that stuff. And I think, I was sitting down the other day just kind of like pondering, what is my word for the year? Because people do this, and I did it last year. My words, let's see, what was my word? Oh, my words for last year were confidence and abundance. And that was actually like, I look at what last year was for me, and that was totally what it was. It was like, last year was the year of me, really coming into my identity. And I could have looked at that and been like, I'm 30 years old. I can't believe it took me so long to realize like who I am. Like, I was like, I'm so annoyed by this. Like, I wish I wish that I could have, known all along, and really embraced it. Instead of getting down on myself, I just was just in like a swirl of gratitude, and just so thankful that it doesn't matter how long it took. Like, I'm there now, and how is this going to change my life for years to come? Because the life in front of me greatly outweighs the life that has already happened. So I have so many years ahead to really embrace who I am and embrace my identity. And so I think this year is a year of just that, embracing my identity and just like who I truly am. And not being afraid to show that to the world and to really like celebrate it. And by celebrate it, I mean like, I think sometimes it's easier to just be small than it is to show up authentically, as people say. And for example, for my birthday, I had some really great, wonderful, sweet friends throw me a party, and it confronted some things in me, because I felt like they did all this stuff, and it was so sweet. Like I wanted to do karaoke for my birthday. I told Aaron that I wanted to do karaoke for my birthday, and he told my friends about this, and then they just like kind of took it from there. And it was so sweet, and they set up this whole thing for me, and then, just showered this love on me, and it felt so uncomfortable in some ways. But then also, like, even though it felt uncomfortable to like receive such intense love, like it almost felt like it was smothering me. Like I knew that like I was made for that, and I was made for that kind of connection. And, whoa, oh God, why am I so emotional? I grew up in a lot of chaos as a child. And I mean, I think if I look at the whole of my childhood, what I knew of my childhood, it was good. But then as I got older, you just learn about things, and you just, stuff comes to the surface. So like there was a lot happening when I grew up. Like there's a lot of chaos around me as a child. But there was like, sometimes I didn't know about it. Or sometimes I just didn't know what it was. I knew there was stuff going on, but I didn't have that clarity, whatever. And so I just faced, a lot of trauma. And so now as an adult, those things come up and memories resurface, and you kind of go through all of this stuff that has become a part of you. And it's like, is this really who I am? Or am I just triggered? Or like, what is going on? And I think the whole birthday party thing, like, it just showed me that like I was made for connection. I was made to not live my life alone. I can trust people, and I don't have to go so far. Like I can really trust people and let them in. And I think that's a really big deal. Not only for life, but also in business. Like you should never do business alone. You should never do life alone. You should never do marriage alone. You should never do parenting alone. Like you should never have to do those things alone. And I know sometimes people do have to, just depending on where they are in life. And I totally understand that. And if that's you, I'm so sorry. And I hope and pray that you can find a community to surround you. Because it is such a game changer just to have, a support system. But anyway, I'm rambling so much. All that to say, I think what my original thought was my word for the year. So one of my words, or like, okay, I was talking about how like year 30 was like, this is who you are. And then now I feel like 31 is like, embrace it. And so now talking about my words for the year, I really feel like one of my words is connection. And just in a lot of different ways. Personally, honestly, connecting to myself. I am more creative. I talked about this in another episode, but I am more creative whenever I'm connected to me and when I am connected to God. And then also like, I also need people. So like I need connection all around. Like whenever I'm connected to me, whenever I'm connected to God, whenever I'm connected to other people around me, I think that's whenever I feel the most like alive and creative. And so I think that's something that I really want to focus on this year is connection in all of those three areas. And then, well, fourth, also in business. Like I want to feel connected in my community and in, like with other, like just networking and things like that, outside of online communities. Although I do love them and have a lot of great connections online, but I've really wanted to focus on connection locally and like in person. Like, so I don't know what that looks like. I know like I joined my local chamber. That was one of the things that I really felt like I needed to do to kind of help me with that goal of connection. But, yeah, I just feel like there's like permission and just like an opportunity for me to really go deep in what true healthy connection can really be and not allow any childhood wounds or anything like that to keep me from that. Like I've really focused on a lot of like emotional healing and stuff recently, more so last year, but I mean, I think we're all like just in a constant place of like staying in tune with our emotions and like understanding them. And so anyway, like where was I going with that? I don't even know what I'm saying. Anyway, like just what was I talking about? Literally, I just lost my thought. I was talking about connection and emotional healing. Oh, not like allowing childhood wounds to get in the way of connection. And yeah, so anyway, that's a big deal. So another word is curiosity. I'm changing a lot of things in my business right now, or looking to. And I feel like there's an opportunity for me to just be increasingly more curious in every area. And that really excites me. And it all kind of started with some projects this year that like kind of kicked off the year. I just full transparency, I used to not be very confident in my illustrating abilities. And I would always reach out to my friend Andrew, who does a lot of the logos, who has done a lot of the logos for Wonder Creative clients. And if there's like a really like big illustrative piece of the logo, I always like kind of reach out to him to do that because I just did not feel confident. But there were two clients that kicked off this year with projects, with my projects this year. And they both had very like strong illustrated logos. And I first, was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, I don't, I just was really hard on myself about it. And then I just sat down and was curious and was like, let's try this. Let's see what happens if I do this, and I just felt so strongly not to stop. Like, even if I was getting in, like I was trying to do something and it wasn't working out, like I just heard this voice in my head, like, don't stop, like keep going, stay curious, keep trying, see what happens. It's okay if you don't have the answers, just try, just create, be willing to learn right now. And that changed it for me. And I actually did it. Like I created something that not only the client loved, but I loved. And now I feel so much more confident in my ability to illustrate and to create that way. And then there was another client, same thing. I was like, I'm not actually sure if I can do this. And I tried it and I just stayed curious. And so anyway, that's like a practical way of like how I'm staying curious, but then also like in some different like things that I'm looking to pivot this year, just staying curious and not freaking out if things don't go just exactly how I've planned or thought they would go. Like just staying like open and teachable and curious. Yeah, like childlike. and letting things be fun. Like, it's okay. Like, there's no pressure. I'm finally in a place where I don't have to put a ton of pressure on Wonder Creative right now, just like with the way I've set things up right now. And I'm so thankful because it's allowing me to, again, be curious and also just to create the business that I've wanted that truly supports my life. And obviously, my business is meant to serve others. My business is created to solve a problem for people, like that's what businesses are for. But it also needs to make sense for me and for my family. Like, I take a very wholehearted approach to my business because I'm not willing to sacrifice being a mother and being a wife. Like, those are very important things. That is like my ultimate role in my life right now, are those two things. And so I will not sacrifice that, for my business. And if that's what this is going to be, like, I might as well just go find a job. One of my friends said this, and it was so profound. He said, a lot of people think that they own a business, but really they just own a job. And it's so true, like so true. And that's unfortunately what I was doing in the beginning of this, like I wasn't really creating a business that gave me space to live my life, like there wasn't space. There just was not space in my business at all. And I don't know how else to say it, but there just was not space for me. And it just felt like it was a job. And I was like, well, if I'm just going to work a job or own a job, I might as well just go find a job, because that's way easier than doing what I'm doing, But now I feel like I'm kind of in this place where I do have more space. And so I want to make sure that I'm intentional with this time that I have to set up systems and processes that support my life and my lifestyle so that I can really serve people the way that makes sense for them and for me. And really, like, honoring my capacity as a human being. Like, that phrase keeps coming back to me just all the time. Like, honor your capacity, honor your capacity. And like, I'm not a huge Enneagram person. I do like it because it allows me to like understand my friends. And so that makes me happy because I just want to love people really well. So with that said, which one do you think I am? I'm a 2. I'm very giving. I love to help. I love to love people and just, I will sacrifice my own needs for other people. And that's just kind of naturally what I do. And not only that, but it's like I think that other people expect me to do that. And if I don't do that, then they will think that I don't love them. And so something that I'm learning is that's not true. That's unhealthy. And it literally says in the Bible, love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you cannot love yourself, then you cannot actually love other people. And so I'm having to learn what it looks like to love myself in regards to honoring my capacity. Because if I don't honor my capacity, then other people are going to pay the price for it. And those other people are probably going to be Aaron and Asher. And I will not let that happen. This time of my life is really about understanding that I do have a certain capacity for work, for life. I have a certain capacity for different things. And like, that's okay. We all do. Like, whether you know that or not, like, you have a certain capacity and yours is different from somebody else's. If you're single, your capacity is greater. If you're not single and you have a family, then your capacity is a little bit less for other things, like running a business or working a job, whatever it is. Like, you have less capacity, and that's something to take into account whenever you're building a business. Like, don't don't set things into place that don't make sense or are going to be so draining from your life. For example, the podcast. Whenever I first started this, I was so excited about it, but then I was like, shoot, this is a lot of work. And, just because the way that I do things, like I do things with excellence, like that is, it's not, perfection is not my goal, but excellence is always my goal. And so if it's got my name on it, if I'm working on it, it's gonna be good. Okay. That I can promise you that it's gonna be the best that I can do. And so with this podcast, like I've put so much time and effort into it and doing all these things and sending out emails when there's new episodes and like promoting on social and filming it and editing it and making it like a good experience, because if I'm going to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it well. And so I thought I was going to batch these. I thought I was going to like do all this stuff. And then I realized, some people have whole freaking teams managing their podcasts. I'm one person who is a mother, a wife, and I also have clients, and I also do all these other things. Like this podcast, it means a lot to me, but I've got to rein it in. Like I have to honor my capacity and understand, okay, that doesn't mean that I can't do the podcast, but maybe I don't do this. Maybe like I started kind of like thinking, okay, what is the biggest priority, for the podcast, and, just kind of like restructuring things, reordering things so that I wasn't compromising, my family or anything. And then also this is a big one. I don't want to compromise my inner world, like my heart, my soul, my spirit, for my work. And I've definitely done that in the past. I've just plowed past my needs and plowed past, those like the cultivation of my heart. And that's not good. That's not good, because then you become resentful and, you just carry all this stuff into everything that you do. And if you're not living connected, then that shows, and other things that you do. So anyway, yeah, I kind of talked about that earlier as far as connection, like connecting to myself, connecting to God. So I guess that kind of encompasses that. But, honoring my capacity, when it comes to family and when it comes to me as a human being. So if you're one of those people that you tend to just kind of go the extra mile all the time, and your needs not getting met, whether that's stuff that you need, that you should be doing and showing up for yourself, or things that you need other people to be helping you with, or whatever that looks like, think about like the long-term effects of that kind of thinking. Something that the American workplace has promoted is like, you need to just push through and get the work done, and just keep doing that and keep denying yourself and just do the work. And that's horrible and toxic. Obviously, I'm not saying that work doesn't get done, but what I am saying is this is why it's important to honor your capacity, because then it's almost like budgeting, but I don't even like that term, because then it makes it seem like so rigid and like whatever, but like it gives you freedom. Whenever you give things boundaries, it's like it can really fill up the space that it needs to fill. Like think about when you pour water into a glass, like if it didn't have boundaries, the water would just go everywhere and it's not actually filling up anything. So like give like these things in your life like boundaries so that you can really fill up the space with whatever you're doing. Does this make sense? I don't even know if I'm making sense, but these are things that I'm learning. So I'm learning this as I'm going along, and maybe somebody else out there can relate with these things or be like, yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe no one is listening to this right now. And that's also okay, because it's helping me verbal process, which is something that I do pretty regularly. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, sometimes I need to verbal process, but that's very rare. And I was like, what is that like? Like, what is that? I mean, sometimes I if things are like really deep enough and affecting me like deeply enough on an emotional level or a heart level, like I will need to process it, closed off and like to myself. But like most of the time, I love to verbal process. Like I will pull Aaron aside and be like, all right, so we're going to talk about this. And all I need for him to do is listen. I really don't need anything else. Most of the time, I just need to talk it out. So thanks. If that's what, if that's all this has been, is me just talking to the wall, then thanks, wall. Thanks for listening. Oh, another thing is being present. And I feel like I didn't struggle with being present until I owned a business, because for whatever reason, like owning a business just kind of like consumed everything else. And it's like I was always like either like very consciously thinking about business, or like it was always like an open tab, like subconsciously thinking about my business. And so it was kind of hard to like stay present. And even like with social media and stuff, like I think business owners are just kind of pulled in a lot of different directions these days, and just humanity at large. I think we all struggle with being present, which is so sad. And it makes me think like if we didn't, and I get into this thought process of like, I love technology. I love social media because it's allowed me to really connect with people, and it's allowed me to like have a voice. And, there's so much that you can learn, and like, I love it as a tool, but I don't love it as something that like controls our lives. Like it needs boundaries. Okay. You don't have to post everything. You can just live your life and have an amazing, enjoyable moment and not even take a picture of it. What are you talking about? What? Pause it real quick. I'm not going to pause it because... Okay, hold on. So anyways, back to living a balanced life. What? Thanks. Actually, yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. Okay.
Yeah, I made sure to listen before I came
Okay. But with the nature of owning a business, when it comes to social media, like you feel like you just need to document everything and show your face and show and blah, blah, blah. And yes, there is. All of this stuff is true. It's just like an ebb and flow. Like you just got to know when it makes sense and when it doesn't make sense for you. And that's why a lot of things are not cut and dry when it comes to owning a business or life in general. There's a lot of gray, and you have to be okay with that gray area and figure out like what that's going to look like for you. I've just been thinking about like how I can really be present, and like when I'm with Asher, just really being there. And honestly, I was struggling big time in that area. We would be playing, but it's like my mind was totally somewhere else. And I was like, why can't I be present right now? What is going on? And making sure that when I'm at work, so that whenever I'm with Asher, I can be with Asher. Kind of reordering and restructuring my life, so that, things like one or the other is not suffering, I feel like it's so important to stay connected to my inner child. I keep a couple of photos up here. I'll show them to you. One of them, let's see, I'm 5, and then this one I'm 6. So I keep these photos. I know it probably seems weird, but I keep photos of my childhood self in my office because in some ways there are things that I feel like I missed out on as a child, just with the nature of, growing up without a dad and a lot of moving around. And I'm not going to go into details, but anyways, it wasn't your normal childhood experience. But I think something that I think about often is like that little girl is like still here, like she's still with me, and I don't have to experience life apart from her, like she can still get those things that she didn't get as a child now, so like that connection that I was talking about earlier. And I don't know, and then also connecting to the good parts of my childhood, and just that curiosity that I had, and wonder and excitement. Going through hard things as a child, like I feel like you have a choice whenever you get older. Like you can either choose to be a product of your environment, or you can choose to rise above it and become something that is not attached to the chaos of your life. And I feel like for me, like I have always just been like, I'm not going to allow these things to define me. I'm not going to allow the things and the chaos and things that I went through as a child to define my life. And I think that's because I've been a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer. I've always had these grand ideas. Like I wanted to be on Broadway, and I always wanted to live really big. And I feel like the things that I went through as a child could make me want to live small now. And I've faced that constantly the last, decade of my life. Just, you need to live small. You need to live small. And smaller it's safer. It's safer. You don't have to show up. You don't have to do any of that. Like you can just live small and safe. Something that I'm learning is like I was made for, like there are just things about me that I'm never going to be able to get away from. Like whenever I was talking with Olivia a few weeks ago, when we were when she was like, I've always like lived this life like bursting at the seams. Like I always just felt like there was just stuff like wanting to burst out of me. And like I felt that too, like my whole life. And so just because all of these things happened in my life doesn't make that untrue about me. Me pursuing my dreams is what has saved me from being a product of my environment. Like I had such big dreams. I was like, I'm going to have to be able to heal from all of this emotional pain so that I can pursue the dreams of my life. And that's, Wonder Creative, but also think so much more than that. Just like being a mom and, being a good person and being being someone that can receive love and give love in the way that it ought to be given and received. Anyway, I don't know if any of that made sense, but this was me as a kid picking up seashells. And this is me on my bike. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry. This is for the watchers, not the listeners. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, I feel like that's everything. Let me just close with this. Let me just close with this. Turning 31, I love my 30s. Like, people are ridiculous for hating on turning 30 and getting older. Like, getting older is amazing. And like, I feel so alive. Like, I feel more alive and I don't know, just more like content now than I ever have in my life. And it's just because I want to create a good life. Like, I don't know how to say this, but like, getting older is not a bad thing. And I think as you get older, you just discover so much about yourself. And if you can have the right perspective, it can be such a blessing to really enjoy your life as the person that you are, to embrace who you are. And so I can't stand when people give like, oh, your 30s, it's over. It's like, no, it's not. It's really not. If anything, it's the best. Like, now you get to just really like live. Like, just the 20s are all about discovering, and you're just kind of figuring out what you like and what you don't, and who you're going to be, and think like who you aspire to be. And like your 30s, it's like, I don't know, for me, I'm not going to say this for everyone, but for me, I love being 31. I doubt anyone has listened to this, so thank you, no one. I'm just kidding. Wow, that was so negative. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes, I don't know. I don't know if I ever say anything that means anything. I'm still getting used to the podcast. I'm still getting used to like doing this, and even like the concept of hundreds of people listening to me talk is wild, because I don't know. It's wild. I guess be on the lookout for some announcements coming from Wonder Creative in, maybe a month or two. Just some things that are shifting. It's all good things. I'm very excited. And I really want to, hear from you guys more about how I can, serve you guys better, of course. And I'm sure that I'll be reaching out, just to kind of like hear from y'all. I really just want to create a business that serves you really well and serves me and my family really well. And I feel like I'm finally getting into that season, that sweet spot of like, okay, these are the dreams that we've had. Is now the time? Like, is it time to actually start working towards this now? And so we'll see. But I've had so many good conversations lately, and I'm feeling really encouraged. Thank you guys so much for listening, especially if you listened to this entire episode of me just rambling. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will catch you next week. Bye.